Ahmed was exhausted after a long journey. When he found an old hotel on the outskirts of the road, he decided to stop and spend the night. The hotel looked almost abandoned. Its facade was crumbling, and dim lights flickered through the windows, casting a shadow of mystery. As he entered through the heavy main door, a cold, unnatural breeze brushed against him. An old man greeted him at the reception. His face was weathered and his eyes were strange. He didn't say much, just handed Ahmed the key to room 13 and motioned towards the creaky old stairs leading to the second floor. The hotel was nearly empty, with a silence that felt eerie, broken only by the sound of his footsteps on the wooden steps. As Ahmed entered his room, something felt off. The furniture was old but neatly arranged, and the walls were adorned with faded photographs of people he didn't recognize. Everything seemed quiet at first, but then he heard a faint sound, like someone crying, far off in the distance. He dismissed it, thinking it was just his tired mind playing tricks on him. After a quick shower, he lay on the bed, hoping to rest. But as time passed, the sounds grew more persistent. He began hearing whispers and faint laughter, as if it was coming from within the walls themselves. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, approaching his door. Yet, every time he opened it, there was no one there. His heart raced, but he kept telling himself it was just exhaustion. He closed his eyes, hoping to sleep, but suddenly the room turned ice cold. He opened his eyes and saw shadows shifting in the corner of the room, almost as if they were people, but he couldn't make them out clearly. Jumping out of bed, he looked around, trying to find the source of the disturbance. He moved towards the window to open it, thinking fresh air might help clear his mind. But as he approached, he saw the reflection of someone standing behind him in the glass. Spinning around, there was no one there. The night became more terrifying. As midnight approached, the strange occurrences intensified. The door to his room would open and shut on its own, and the sounds became louder, clearer. It felt like there were a group of people talking in the room next to his, but when he went to check, the room was completely empty. Just then, a girl appeared, a young woman working in the hotel. Her face was pale, and she looked anxious. She asked quietly, "Did you hear something?" Ahmed, now on edge, responded, "Yes, there are strange noises." "What's happening here?" She looked around nervously, as if afraid someone might overhear. Whispering, she said, "The hotel isn't what it seems. Strange things happen here, and they've been happening for years. No one can explain them." Ahmed, skeptical but increasingly unnerved, asked, "What do you mean? Is this place haunted?" She nodded slowly, her voice shaking. "There are spirits here, spirits that can't find peace. Every night, something happens. Some say it's the souls of the guests, who died here under mysterious circumstances." As Ahmed tried to process what she was saying, they both heard a loud, chilling laugh coming from the room next door. Ahmed ran to the door, but when he opened it, no one was there. The room was empty, just like before, but the air felt heavier, as if something invisible was filling the space. The girl, whose name he learned was Miriam, looked at Ahmed and said, "You're not the first to experience this. Every guest who comes here goes through the same thing, but some never leave." Ahmed felt a deep sense of dread. It was hard to believe what was happening, but he couldn't deny the reality anymore. The sounds, the shadows, the freezing cold, they all pointed to one horrifying conclusion: something was terribly wrong in this hotel. He rushed back to his room, determined to pack his things and leave immediately. As he gathered his belongings, he heard knocking, loud, insistent knocking at the door. When he opened it, there was no one there, but the message was clear: "You will not leave." Objects in the room began to move on their own. Chairs scraped across the floor, doors slammed shut violently. In that moment, Ahmed realized he was trapped in this cursed hotel. It was as if the spirits wanted him to stay, to become one of them. Suddenly, the old man from the reception, the hotel's owner, appeared in the hallway. He smiled coldly and said, "You're just like the others. Everyone who comes here thinks they can leave, but this hotel keeps its guests forever." As Ahmed backed away in fear, another guest, Sammy, appeared, someone he hadn't seen much during his stay. His face was pale, and his voice was filled with terror as he warned, "You need to get out now. Don't wait until dawn, because after dawn, there's no escape." Ahmed began running down the stairs, desperate to find the main exit. But the closer he got to the front door, the more the ground beneath him seemed to shift and pull him down. The shadows were closing in, surrounding him on all sides, and the voices were so loud now, it felt like his head might explode. He heard screams, saw disfigured faces flickering in and out of view around him. When he finally reached the door, he found it sealed shut with an invisible force. No matter how hard he pulled, it wouldn't budge. Miriam appeared beside him, tears streaming down her face as she whispered, "You're one of us now. We won't let you leave." At that moment, Ahmed realized the horrifying truth. He had fallen into a trap from which there was no escape. The hotel had claimed him, just as it had claimed so many before him.
Join our family and be part of our adventures. Just click the subscribe button now.